In the first question, we have a sequence of pattern where we have the first term as 124, then 120, then 116 and 112. If we look at these terms, we can see that there's a common difference of 4. 4 is being subtracted from each consecutive term. So to find the next term, we will do 112 minus 4, which is going to give us 108. And then we do 108 minus 4, going to give us 104. Then it says, what is the 10th term? So we know that right now, negative 4 is the common difference. So we multiply the common difference with your n. So let's assume that your nth term is negative 4n. If we try to find the first value with negative 4n, that's going to be negative 4 times 1, which is going to give us negative 4. And we know that the first term is 124, not negative 4. So in order to turn negative 4 into 124, that means we have to add 128 to this. So if we use negative 4n plus 128 as our nth term, so negative 4 times 1 plus 128 is going to be 124. Let's try to find the fourth term. So T4 will be negative 4 times 4 plus 128. So that's going to be 128 minus 16, and that's 112, which means our nth term is negative 4n plus 128. To find the 10th term, I will do negative. So to find the 10th term, I will do negative 4 times 10 plus 128, which is negative 40 plus 128, and that's going to give us 88. So always remember, whatever your common difference is, if it's being added, like if the common difference is being added to each consecutive term, then you multiply that with n, and that's going to be like, if let's say in this case it was plus 4, so we would have tn equals to plus 4, like positive 4n first, and then we would see what we can add to 4n to get the first term. And since in this case it was minus 4, because between each consecutive term we were subtracting 4. So you multiplied negative 4 with n first and assume that that is the nth term. And then we change that equation depending on what the first term is and how we could get the first term if we had put n equals to 1 in tn equals to negative 4n. So as you can see, the nth term came out to be negative 4n plus 128. And then we substitute other values to check if that nth term was valid for the sequence. Since the fourth term came out to be correct, which means we can easily use the nth term for our 10th term. So we did negative 4 times 10 plus 128. Another way you could have done was, if this was like confusing, you could have written like found like all the consecutive terms till you reach 10th term. But to save time, you can just easily make your nth term and substitute n equals to 10 and find your answer. Then it says solve 3y plus 4 equals 22. So we're going to begin with moving 4 to the other side, and that's going to give us 22 minus 4 now. Whenever you're moving a term from one side to the other, if, like for example, in this case, 4 was being added to 3y. So when you move 4 to the right-hand side, it becomes minus 4 now. If 4 was being multiplied to 3y, on the right side, it would divide 22. So when you move one term, like when you move a term from one side to the other, the function it's performing, it does the opposite thing on the other side. So 3y equals to 22 minus 4, which is going to be 18. And y equals to 18 divided by 3. Same concept. Since 3 is being multiplied with y on the left-hand side, when you move it on the right-hand side, it divides 18. That's going to give us 6. Then it says Amara has 400 pounds. She gives 10% to her sister She gives 2/5 to her mom, and we need to figure out how much she's left with. So for sister, it's going to be 10 over 100 times 400. We first find 10% of the amount that she has, and that is going to be 40 pounds. We cancel out the two zeros. Whenever you have like zeros in the numerator and denominator, you can cancel out equal number of zeros from the numerator and denominator then. So we have two zeros over here, two zeros over here. We cancel them out, and we're left with 4 times 10, which is 40. Then for her mom, it's 2/5 of 400. 5 ones are 5. 5 times 80 is 400. So 2 times 60 is going to be 160 pounds. So how much is left? So leftover will be 400 minus 160 minus 40, and that's going to be 200 pounds. Then it says calculate the area of the triangle. So area of the triangle has the formula of 1/2 times base times height. This is your base, and this is your height. Always remember that you look at the perpendicular height, not the slant height. So 8 centimeter will not be used in the formula. You will use 5 centimeters. So it's going to be 1/2 times 10 times 5, which is going to be 25 centimeter square. Then it says write 36 as a product of primes. So we know 36 is 6 times 6. You can start with any number. You can even start with 36 with 18 times 2. That's also fine. Then we know 6 is 3 times 2. I'm just going to give you the alternate solution over here. 18 is 9 times 2. And 9 is 3 times 3. Now we know that our prime numbers begin with 2. Then it's 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and so on. So 3 and 2 are prime numbers, which means we cannot further break them down. Hence, 36 can be written as 3 times 3 times 2 times 2. 3 times 3 is 3 square, and 2 times 2 is 2 square. The reason why I'm writing it as 3 square times 2 square is because it says give your answer in index form, which means we give it as a product of its prime factors in index form, not just being multiplied or like, written as, for example, 18 times 2 or 9 times 4. You write it as a product of prime numbers, but in index form.